Well, welcome to a Pastor's Cafe. I'm your host, David. I'm here with Pastor Steve Kern, and we'll be talking about trusting God in a divided nation. How about that?
Wow.
Okay, well, that will be today's topic, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to a Pastor's Cafe. Again, this is David with Pastor Steve Kern, episode number 36, Trusting God in a Divided Nation. Now, what happened recently that would bring about this kind of mass destruction in our country, being divided?
Well,
nothing new.
Let me clarify.
Okay,
something.
go ahead. Clarify.
I think from the last election that the president was finally inaugurated Monday,
Yes.
that we've learned that this nation isn't quite as divided as they keep saying that it is, because
Okay.
the vote for him was pretty solid and very convincing. I mean, it's not like he just got in by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, and that's even with the number of deceased people voting and illegal votes counted as well. But,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
go ahead.
Well,
That's pure speculation.
but and it really was encouraging that you had a lot of people that were willing to vote for Trump. That previously were not in that camp because they had seen what the other side really what they're really about. Because it seemed like the Democrats in the last 4 years have thought, oh wow, we've got this. We've got the people on our side, so now let's start letting them. We don't have to worry about them knowing who and we are and what we really stand for. Well, as we began to find out who they are and what they really stand for, a lot of people were saying, "Wait a minute, that's not me.
Yeah,
that's not what I want."
That's right.
So, the nation's divided, but then you could say that the Democrat Party's divided.
You just keep on going down, reaching deep.
Overall, I mean, this last election really showed that the most of the people of this country are into freedom, and personal rights and those kinds of things. They're not into all of this crazy stuff, that they're trying to take what's a small thing and force it on everybody.
Sure.
And that's really that's not the way it's supposed to work.
And a couple of those examples of the direction we were in. We weren't headed. We were in.
We were in that
in the direction.
Yeah.
And it's men playing in women's sports.
Oh gosh.
It's like you kind of scratch your head and you say, why? And
I hate to say it like this, but men playing in women's bathrooms.
Exactly.
I mean,
I know we can go through a plethora of things that was being thrust down forced down our throats, and it's just like, oh, really? Yeah. So I think it was nice to see. It was reaffirming, that deep down you're thinking there's more of America who they don't like this, they don't approve of this, and they want to go a different direction. And they spoke, and that is very encouraging.
And that the very fact that they saw that, hey, this is important. I'm going to get out and vote.
Exactly.
We had a really good turnout because there were a lot of people very much concerned that it didn't go in the other direction.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, it's divided, but not as divided as we thought it was.
Yeah, it's amazing how the media can paint a picture and try to convince the masses. So recently, President Trump signed, to release the J6ers.
Yeah.
And immediately the next morning, of course, I always watch, ABC or CBS or NBC, one of those in the morning, just to kind of get what's going on,
What's their take on it?
What's their take on it, and also the weather. But anyways, so the first thing they did was show footage that really showed their narrative that they wanted to push. They didn't show or ever have you seen on the major news networks when police officers were actually opening up the gates and making wave motions with their hands saying, "Come on in"?
Yeah.
No, do they ever show that kind of footage? No, I never saw it.
No.
So it's always amazing to me. There's always two sides to the story, and we weathered the storm, and now it's kind of cool that we have like formerly Twitter, now X. There's a lot of information being put on there. It's not censored. It's not filtered. It's basically information,
Right.
and it's really a free venue to report news. Like if there's a fire raging in California and the government wants to try to hide that raging fire, they can probably do it. But with our phones and our ability to actually post videos that aren't, censored by the government, then we can kind of have proof of what's going on in the world.
Well, and of course that means that the government can't pull the wool over our eyes as easily as that used to be.
And now we're going to go down some really interesting rabbit holes, kind of like the JFK files being released.
Yeah.
And people are starting to read that and see things with their own eyes that was, really hidden.
Right.
And so then we have this UFO release going on. And so it's like, is this happening for a reason for our government?
Yeah.
And deep state is still there. Trump's in office. Yes, he's president, but deep state. Are they doing this stuff to keep us, shift our focus to this while you can't see what's going on over here? I don't know.
Well, I think that we're going to see a whole lot of interesting give and take between both sides, because the other side, they're not. Yeah, they've been beaten pretty bad, but they're not gonna give up.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that Joe Biden forgot to pardon himself, or can a U.S. president pardon themselves?
He probably just forgot it. He's forgotten so much.
And all of his enemies around him were thankful, because they didn't tell him to pardon himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he may have felt like he fell under protection of some kind for presidents,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. But, of course, Trump didn't fall under any of that after they came after him afterward. But, but it's a sad thing that when you've got to pardon all these people that are in your administration, it becomes kind of puts a question in your mind. Well, maybe they think they're guilty, they themselves, to ask for pardon. Are you
talking about like maybe Fauci and
all of them, really? I mean,
Biden's family.
What's her name? Liz Cheney, and what they did with
the January 6th
6th investigation.
Yeah,
there's all kinds of stuff, and I really think the people that went into prison for the J6 thing, those people ought to be reimbursed something. When the folks had to leave the military because they wouldn't take the shot.
Yep.
Now Trump's saying, if you come back in, we'll pay you, your back pay, and we'll give you the rank that you would have gotten had you stayed in. Well, in a sense, I see that's what happened to those J6ers as well.
Yeah.
They were put in prison for 4 years, practically, some of them.
And
they lost all this. And, we were talking about that today, how that they're not getting out as fast and quickly because these people are all over the country in different federal prisons. And a lot of times they don't have, people can't get to them to take them home and all that. It's a bad thing.
Yeah, it is.
Very bad. So.
All right. Well, do you want to get into a question?
Well, sure. I mean, we pretty much, I think, kind of exposed where we're coming from.
Yeah, because we're still kind of living in the aftershock, of what happened.
Well, I wouldn't call it an aftershock. Well, it is a terrible aftershock for those that lost the election.
See, I'm trying to help people out.
But the thing about it is there's a whole lot of positive expectation and anticipation.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. So at least if you watch the right news media and bloggers that are basically positive about
isn't it amazing if you watch Fox News on how encouraged they are, and then if you watch the CNN or your major news networks, then we are living in the aftershock.
Woe is us. We're woe is us. Our nation is lost. Of course, that's exactly how I would have felt had the other side won.
Yep.
Exactly.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So here we go.
Okay. So with all this being said, Trump has been saying something about a new golden age.
Yeah. What does he mean by that?
What does he mean by that?
Yeah. I think he means golden age, prosperity, and all of that kind of thing.
The reason why I asked that is because there's a lot of conversation about end times.
Yes.
And how a lot of people feel like we are just right on the edge of Christ's return and because what's going on in the world. And it seems like now we have this information overflow of, the JFK files, UFO files, and information's just AI, everything's running rampant.
Yeah.
And then you got what's going on. I forget what country it's in. It's called CERN, CERN, and that's where they, crash atoms and they, supposedly they said that they have broken into a different dimension and they're talking with other beings. So we have all of this stuff running rampant, and then you have these orbs in the sky that people are, filming and then putting on social media, and then people are saying, oh, those are fallen angels and they have the ability to transform orbs into UFOs, into drones, and you have all this conversation. So everyone's mind is just going in all kinds of different directions.
Well, it is interesting that there's a lot of things that for the longest time in Revelation, things just seemed kind of like just out there and fairy tale type stuff. But now, as we're getting along and we're getting more technology, we're getting more and more understanding about how things work, science, with particle physics and all different kinds of stuff, is giving people all of a sudden this, maybe that's what that means, broader spectrum of possibilities of what's actually being referred to there.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. And there's a lot of conversation about that.
How close do you think we are?
Well, if
we're closer today than we were yesterday.
If Harris had won, I would say, we're pretty close. I really would.
That's your feeling? Yeah.
Because we're talking one world government. You're talking all these kinds of things that have to be in place.
Sure.
In order for the Antichrist to come forward and say, hey, I can fix all this, you see.
Sure.
Well, all of a sudden, and I hate to say this, but Trump, that's kind of what he's saying is, hey, I can fix all this. You know what I mean?
I know.
So it's kind of like, all right, let's see how this goes. But Trump claims to be a Christian. I don't think the Antichrist will do that. Claim to be a Christian. He'll claim, I don't know, there's all different kinds. I don't know what he'll claim to be, but he's got to be somebody that the whole world will be willing to get behind. So, anyway.
I don't see the whole world uniting behind Trump.
No, that's for sure. That's not going to happen. Yeah. Well, they're kind of uniting behind him simply because they don't want to be on his bad side because they're going to lose their the United States. What is United? It's the big uncle. What was the guy in Orphan Annie? Her uncle or whatever that had all the money and everything. That's kind of what we are.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm trying to remember that.
We're like the world's bank.
Yeah. Well,
with no money.
With no money. Well, we've got money. It just isn't worth anything.
I know. It's monopoly money.
Maybe that'll change. I don't know.
Oh man.
Anyway,
Okay. Here we
got
go.
a little bit of time left.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time left. Let's start. Let's ask this one. This is the second question I came up with. Here we go. With Christians holding such polarized views on leadership, how can the church remain a beacon of unity and truth?
Polarized views on leadership. Well, I think that we just have to keep making the first thing first.
Okay.
The gospel.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this world needs, is the gospel. And it's interesting to see how that we got more and more people are starting to come. I mean, you're seeing some revival. Like some of these celebrities now that have kind of come out, like Kid Rock.
Yeah.
And Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Very outspoken. I mean,
sure.
Mel Gibson, you know.
And another thing is really encouraging to see the number of college athletes who say, I would like to give credit to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on national TV.
On national TV.
Yeah.
And then ESPN cut them off. But, change the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep the focus on the right things.
Exactly.
I think, and rather than getting caught up in opinion, this is what we know to be true and what's best for the world, and that's the gospel of Jesus.
That's right.
Christ, and that's what the church needs to be. The church is supposed to be salt and light. Well, okay, salt. A lot of times we can be salt in the sense that, we need to be speaking against sin and all that, but we also be talking about the light. And what's the light? The light's Jesus.
Yeah.
The light's the answer. Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad to see that there's an emphasis coming more towar's the gospel and all.
Sure. Yeah.
On, of course, on Facebook, I have Facebook, but you can be in different groups. So I really get a lot of stuff from the group, but I don't get a lot of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Still, it's encouraging to get the reports that we're getting. That's what's happening across the country, around the world. I just saw a thing the other day where Franklin Graham preached. Where was it that he was preaching? Anyway, 12,000 people came to Christ.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
Wow.
So, I think we need to just keep making the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
And focusing on that.
Yeah. Wise words.
Yeah. So it was just kind of in comparison when they had the National Prayer Day thing at I don't know, one of the cathedrals or something there in D.C.
Yeah.
And the woman, I don't know, pastor, whatever she is, priest or whatever, she really came down pretty hard on Trump and all of that, and really, I think could have had a better approach by just saying that we need God's leadership and direction and all of this.
There we go. Don't politicize,
right.
your ability to be in the pulpit. Don't politicize your opportunity.
But I think that Trump is in the things that he's saying that we need to do and the promises that he's been making shows a concern for a lot of the needs that the woman was saying he need to continue to be focused on. But then too, I'm sure she was also referring to like the idea that Trump is saying that there's just two genders. We're not going to get back into this transgender stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Man, obviously she was trying to speak to that.
Oh yeah.
And so anyway, but no, she didn't really have a whole lot to say about the gospel, did she?
Nope. Not at all.
Not at all. Same.
Yeah. Focus on the main thing.
Yeah.
Good.
Make the main thing the main thing.
Good. Wise words.
What we need to do.
All right. Well, with that, we'll just cut it a wrap to this show.
That's only one question.
I know. But We'll have some more next time.
Well, there's so much going on. I mean, you just, how do you, everybody has something to say about something.
That's right.
And some people have something to say about everything.
That's right.
So, man, that probably is us.
I'm not going to agree with that.
No, you're not going to agree with that.
I should agree with that.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time. Take care and bye-bye.
Amen.